Welcome back. My name is Cameron, and you are watching Choices. Last year, the UBC Centre for Health Control and Policy Research listed a report saying that $23 billion was spent on prescribed drugs, and 6% of that was actually dedicated to antidepressants. Today on the show, we're going to be hearing from Ocean Lum. And Ocean is a registered clinical counselor who has a master's degree in counseling. So, welcome to the show, Ocean. Thank you for coming on. We're going to be also having a chance to discuss tonight with you your integrative approach you have towards dealing with anxiety and depression, and using counseling and yoga life force, and meditation practices. Now, you're doing a special type of yoga called?
It's called Life Force Yoga.
Life Force Yoga, yes. And we'll be having a chance to actually have a look at that tonight, folks. You've brought a couple of your students in. They'll be doing a demonstration.
Yes.
That'll be exciting. So let's start off first, Ocean, with what got you interested in anxiety and depression?
I was interested from my own experience, Cameron. I had suffered from depression for probably about 25 years, and I didn't even know I was depressed. It wasn't until I was in university that my roommate said, "I think you're depressed," and I was like, wow, I didn't realize that.
You were surprised by that.
Yeah, and then, once I realized that, I could see how depression, visited me. And for me, depression was a sense of heaviness and a sense of lethargy. And I spent a lot of time in bed. There was a real numbness.
Okay.
And I tried different things. And eventually, after, a long time, I went on antidepressants. And I was on them for a while, and they helped, but I didn't like the side effects.
Sure, and that's what many people reach for, is antidepressants. That's the common. Now, you've been fortunate, though, to experience something else.
Yes, yes. So sort of concurrently, I was doing yoga, and I really got interested in yoga when I was going through my divorce. I realized the deep healing power of yoga, and it was my saving grace. And just through the practice, I was able to calm myself, de-stress, center myself, and tap into inner resources and strengths that I didn't even know I had. And this, I didn't even know about Life Force Yoga at the time. Okay. So just through that, I was able to, to make a long story short, I was able to, eventually wean myself off the antidepressants, and by using a combination of yoga, meditation, and counseling.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of Life Force Yoga.
Okay.
What makes it different than other yogas?
Well, yeah, it's a great question, because Life Force Yoga is yoga. Life Force Yoga was developed by Amy Weintraub, and she developed it from her own journey out of depression. Okay. And she eventually founded what's called the Life Force Yoga Institute. And she's author of these two books, Yoga Skills for Therapists and Yoga for Depression. So I was doing yoga, and my depression was well behind me, and I became a teacher. And I knew about Life Force Yoga, but I wasn't, really interested in it. And it wasn't until someone in my social circle, who I knew suffered from depression, had died by suicide. And I remember immediately my mind went to Life Force Yoga, and I thought, wow, if I had taken that training, could I have helped that person?
Sure.
And that was my impetus to take the training, and it was transformative. So Life Force Yoga bridges ancient yogic practices with current neuroscience and medical research.
Right. Now, you and I were speaking before the show that there are some actual chemical changes that happen in the brain, both with yoga and also, though, with depression, and that the yoga actually helps counteract some of those changes. Can you explain that a bit more for us?
Sure. So when a person is under chronic and repeated stress, which many of us are living in the 21st century, there's actual changes in the limbic brain. And the amygdala, or the emotional brain, is aroused and stimulated. So it actually enlarges in size. And the part of the brain responsible for linear memory, the hippocampus, shrinks. And so in order to bring a person into balance, they need to, calm down the limbic center. And research has shown that a consistent yoga practice actually shrinks the hippocampus, shrinks the amygdala, and increases the size of the hippocampus.
So it lessens the reactiveness a person has and allows for the calmness to become more predominant.
Exactly.
We could all use that.
Yeah, yes. And by the way, any research I cite will be found on my website. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So then, can you explain to us a little bit about how it differs from other yoga?
Yes, I just want to, before I go there, I just want to say that we know that the mind influences the body. So as, say, when we experience a threat in the environment, the mind sends a signal to the body to engage in the fight, or flight response.
Certainly.
And there's a whole cascade of events that happen. What we now know, Cameron, and it's so exciting, is that pathway between the mind and body, the communication flows in both directions.
Right.
So the body is able to influence the mind. And that's exactly what Life Force Yoga does. It uses the body to influence the mind, to calm an agitated, anxious mind, or to elevate and energize a depressed mind.
Okay. So is that where the tones come in?
Yes.
That might be the case, yeah.
So what makes Life Force Yoga unique compared to a yoga class, because it is yoga, is it consistently uses a combination of yogic practices not typically found in a regular yoga class.
Okay.
One of them is sound, and sound is very powerful. And we know that certain sounds have a soothing effect. Sounds such as ah and a, sounds that are found in various cultures.
Well, if you think of Amen,
Exactly.
Allah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Krishna.
Krishna,
Yeah,
different examples.
so it's no wonder that these sounds are found, and they're, saying these sounds have a calming effect.
Right.
And research has shown that chanting Om actually deactivates that limbic brain, that
okay.
emotional part of our brain.
Exactly.
And chanting leads us into a deep state of relaxation and can prepare one for meditation.
So you would use this then in your actual sessions?
Yes, we use sound as an integral part of the Life Force Yoga, and in the demonstration we'll show how we can use
Excellent.
sound.
Okay, so we'll be seeing that today then?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there any issues that somebody would have with taking Life Force Yoga while they're in a depressive state? Or is there any cautions that somebody should be aware of?
Well, I think with any kind of physical exercise, one should always go to a doctor to just make sure their health is clear, because there are certain things that are contraindicated if you have, glaucoma or untreated high blood pressure, or if you're pregnant. So definitely, it's good to make sure that that's
So in your
cleared.
experience, have you ever had to ask somebody not to come to the class because of health issues?
No.
Generally, most people can come.
Right.
in.
Well, I usually do a screening so I can assess, who the person is, what are their challenges, if they're on medication, what medication. So my counseling background really helps in that
Right.
aspect.
And then do you actually, I'm gathering you're not doing any counseling during the yoga sessions?
No, but I bring that in just in the sense of that's what I am, because the message of, so from a Western perspective, we can see how yoga affects the limbic brain, changes, brain chemistry, balances hormones. But from a yogic perspective, the message of yoga is that who you are is not your anxious or depressed state.
Right.
Who you are is your essence is whole and radiant and untouched by the traumatic events in our lives.
Right.
So the practice is about connecting to that essence. And I think that's where my counseling background can come in, is that sense
Sure.
of just helping people go to a deeper level within themselves.
You'd also be able to help the person then, I guess what you're saying is remove themselves from who they may think they are in that depressive state. I imagine when someone's very deeply depressed, they feel that's who they are. And that can be dangerous.
Exactly. And that's where the meditation comes in, is as you begin to meditate, you realize that you're not your depressive thoughts.
Wonderful.
That, you're not your thoughts. So
That'd be a very powerful tool to be able to use.
Yeah, and people, when they come in and if they're depressed, it's I realize I'm working with a vulnerable population.
Right.
So,
safety.
It's safety, and Life Force Yoga, what's beautiful about it is that it meets the person where they are.
Okay.
So if someone's depressed, we're not going to say, okay, let's go and
Yeah,
rah, rah, rah. It's like, okay, we're going to meet that sort of heavy, dull energy.
Great. So we're going to take a break.
Okay.
We're going to change the set, and when you come back, folks, you're going to see Ocean and two of her assistants, two of her students, demonstrating what we've been speaking of. So we'll be doing a little bit of tonality and a little bit of yoga movements.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Okay.
Great.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back, folks. We're going to have the opportunity now to see watch a couple of Ocean students and Ocean herself performing some of the examples of Life Force Yoga. Before we start that, though, I'd like to have a little bit of a conversation with the two students and ask them a couple of questions. So, your name is?
Rebecca?
Rebecca. And Rebecca, what has brought you to Life Force?
Well, I was really inspired by the idea of learning how to help myself through learning techniques of positive visualization and thinking. I always knew I had the answers within myself to some of my issues, and the Life Force Yoga has really helped me to tap into that.
That's quite powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good for you.
And I find outside of Life Force Yoga, I've been able to apply the breathing techniques and positive thought patterns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to increase my self-awareness of any negative thought patterns I sometimes have, and I'm able to kind of stop my old way of thinking and behaving.
That's marvelous. Congratulations. And you are?
I'm Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
And what brought you to Life Force? What's the appeal?
A friend brought me to Life Force. She saw it and she thought, I think my friend could use this, and she was right.
Oh, wow.
What attracted me and what's kept me coming is that I feel so accepted in these classes. The people who come are all there with a common thread. You know, we all have accepted that we've had struggles with depression, and that in itself is such an accepting atmosphere. Other things that I take away that mean a lot to me that I've never found in another yoga class are what Ocean alluded to before about giving voice, giving sound when we work through the chakras. It's a very beautiful and empowering experience, and I call on it. Maybe not consciously when I'm not in the class, but it's there within me. And then jewels come from Ocean. Things like she'll say, "You're not your thoughts." Well, I never heard that before, and it's such a comfort, and it's just a very quietly empowering experience that I have in the classes, and it definitely keeps me coming back. I'm a happier, calmer, better person for it.
So Life Force Yoga for everybody, sounds like.
Even you.
Even you never know. Thank you. All right, Ocean, over to you, and let's have a look at Life Force Yoga.
Thanks, Cameron.
Great, you're welcome.
So there's certain components in a Life Force Yoga class that are typical. We use sound, breath work, intention, imagery, mudras, which are hand gestures, and meditation. So I'll just show you how we work with these things in different ways. The first thing we'll do is we often start a class with the grounding and centering. So we'll just take our seat. And thank you, Patricia and Rebecca, for joining us. And we'll just take our hands, find your navel, and just place your hand below your navel. And audience, you're free to join with us. And if you want, you can close your eyes. And then just allow your breath to deepen so that as you inhale, the belly swells like a big Buddha belly. And then as you exhale, it's just a soft exhalation. And this deep breathing in right into your belly. Exhale, soften. And this diaphragmatic breathing stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of our system that tells us that we're safe and all is well. So it's quite grounding, quite centering, quite relaxing. So just following your breath, past the busyness of your day, past your mood. Follow the breath all the way into a place of wholeness and spaciousness. And in this place, just notice if there's an intention for your practice today. And an intention could be anything. It could be to feel more peaceful, it could be to feel more joyful, to be in one's body. This really could be just anything. And if you don't have an intention, that's fine too. Then we just trust the power of the yoga. And if any of you want to share an intention, you're more than welcome to. And then let's take a deep breath in. And then just hold that breath. And then just a slow exhale. The second breath we'll do is energizing breath, and this would be a breath that we would do for a depression to help energize and elevate the mood. It also stimulates the vagus nerve, which is a known treatment for depression. So it's called a bellows breath or Bastrika breath. So it's quite a energizing breath. And if you can, you breathe in and out through your nose. So we'll start with the hands in fists by our shoulders. And as we inhale, we'll reach the arms up, spread the fingers, and exhale through the nose. Inhaling. Three, two, one. Exhale. Release the hands down. And just breathe naturally. If you want, close your eyes. And just notice any sensations. Notice any sensation in your shoulders, your eyes, your hands. And notice if there's a little more space inside, perhaps a little more softness. And then whenever you're ready, we can open our eyes. And this time we'll bring the hands out in front. We'll take a breath in, deep breath in. We'll make fists, and then we'll just hold the breath and just begin to pump. Just hold the breath for as long as you can, as long as your wisdom tells you to. And then when you're ready, just let it out with a sigh. And then just notice the sensations that you feel. So there's a lot of cueing to sensations because the body's always in present time, whereas the mind can race off into the future or fall back into the past. And then just in this space, just remember your intention, just breathe it in. The next breath we'll show would be for someone with anxiety, because often people with anxiety have a hard time breathing. And we'll incorporate a mudra, or the hand gesture, as well. So we'll take our right hand over our heart and place our left hand on top and hook our fingers. And just even placing the hands on the heart is calming. And doing this actually releases oxytocin, which is an antidote for cortisol, the stress hormone. So we'll just take little sips of breath in as if we were climbing a mountain. You can close your eyes if you want. And at the top, we're just going to hold the breath and see an image of peace. See something soothing and calming. And then just a slow exhale through the nose. And then little sips of breath in again. And at the top, hold the breath and see that image. It could be something from nature. It could be something from your imagination. And then just slide the breath out. And then one more time, little sips in. Hold the breath. And if you're not able to see an image, just see the words calm or see the words peaceful. And then just that slow exhale, releasing the hands down. And then just notice if you feel a little more calmer, a little more relaxed, a little more centered. Whenever you're ready, you can open the eyes. And let's come up to standing. So we can take our blocks and move them to the side. So this part of the demonstration, I'll show you integration of breath, of movement, and sound. And the sound that we'll be doing is a mantra, and it's Ma, Ha, Ra. And that loosely translated means inviting the sun to shine into our lives, inviting the sun to shine into the dark recesses of our psyche, perhaps where our fears and limiting thoughts lurk. So let's just come into Tadasana. So have your feet parallel and just sense into your feet, soften the soles of your feet. Feel yourself centered and calm and grounded. And I'm just going to step back so we have room. So we'll just inhale the arms up. And then we'll exhale, we'll just bend the knees and release down. Just inhaling up. And exhaling, releasing down. And then this time, inhaling up and swan diving down with that Mahara. Inhale halfway up with a flat back. Exhale with an audible sigh. And then hands come to the outside of your legs, bending your knees, pressing down. Inhale, scoop up the energy, all the wonderful things life has to offer. And then place your hands in Garuda Mudra, right hand over the heart, left hand over right. Close your eyes. And then just breathe in that image of that soothing, calming image. And just fill your body with that sense. And then release the hands down. And take an integrating breath. And then we'll do that one more time. Just inhaling the arms up. And exhaling, releasing, bending the knees. Just inhaling, reaching up. And exhaling. Just inhaling up and swan diving down. Mahara. Inhale halfway up with that flat back. Exhale with an audible sigh. Oh, just releasing that residual tension. Hands come to the outside, pressing down, inhaling up. And this time let's come into chair, so bending the knees and sitting in a chair. And this would be just to help build strength, build determination, build our will. If you're tired, you can always put your hands on your knees. And then pressing down through your feet, inhale, reaching up. And then right hand over the heart, left hand over right. Closing your eyes, breathing in that image. That calm, soothing, peaceful image, or just seeing the words calm and peace. And then releasing the hands down. And then just notice whatever you notice in your body. Notice your jaw, your shoulders, belly. Notice your feet, right foot, left foot, spine growing out of the pelvis, breath breathing itself. And as you inhale, inhale to the top of your head and say quietly to yourself, I am. And then as you exhale, exhale into the feet, say quietly to yourself, here. Inhaling to the crown, I am. Exhaling into the feet here. And let's do that one more time. Inhaling to the crown, I am. Exhaling into the feet here. And then we end a yoga class with placing our hands in Anjali Mudra or prayer position and saying Namaste, which means I bow or honor the divine in you. So Namaste, Namaste. Thank you. So I'd like to say just a message for the audience. If there's one thing that you take away from today's show, it's a sense that the body can influence the mind. And if you or a loved one has depression, Life Force Yoga can help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ocean. That's been very insightful. So there are other ways of treating depression then, without using or in conjunction with antidepressants?
Absolutely. I would say, always, it's a mental illness, consult with your doctor. Antidepressants definitely have a place. But there's also things that we can do to support it. There's yoga. Also, there's links now to diet. That diet can influence our mood.
Well, the wheat belly
Yes,
is a big thing
yes,
right now.
and also inflammation as well.
Wonderful.
So yeah, there's lots of things.
Pleasure
Yes.
having you on the show.
Yes.
Well, that's it for tonight, folks. On behalf of the crew here at Choices, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you found this informative. Depression affects many people and it can be quite debilitating, so anything that can help is always a benefit. Coming up on the show, next segment will be a person who believes very strongly that anything you put on your skin must be clean enough that you can eat it, and we'll have a chance to see actually me getting a facial. And after that, we'll be having Dr. Sienna Kaspar coming on, a gerontologist who will be talking to us about Alzheimer's and dementia and the treatments and the best protocols for it. So once again, thank you very much on behalf of the crew. Have yourself a nice evening and good night.